Audio check. Audio check. All right. Excellent. Good evening, folks. My name's Phil Gallagher of Thraben University, and tonight we're going to be streaming some red-white death and taxes. You'll notice I went ahead and threw something new up at the top of the screen there. On Thursday, I'm going to be doing a bonus stream with a mono-white deck list of some nature. I have a link below the chat to a straw poll where you can vote for what sort of deck list I'm going to be running there. So feel free to check that out. I'll take a look at it at the end of the stream and see which one is winning, and then I'll make my decision there. So again, that stream will be on Thursday, likely at approximately my regular scheduled hours. And I try to start around 7 p.m. Eastern time, although, you know, most of the time if I get done early doing what I need to do for the day, I go ahead and I just start streaming. So the deck list here is sort of what I've been playing for the last couple of leagues, and I've been pretty happy with it. Rather than playing around with a lot of the nonsense I've been doing, like Direfleet Daredevil, I'm opting to just max out on Wingmares so that we are attacking mana from a whole bunch of different directions, between like Thalia, Wingmare, Magus, Port, Wasteland. It's sort of a mess for our opponents. Where did we end up last time? So last time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just pull it up here. Ah, that's right. Last time we got paired with Dredge, Lands, and Dredge again in our second stream of the evening. So that was rough. In the one before that, I think we 3-2'd 2, 3, 4, 5. Playing against Lands, Dredge, and Grixis Delver 3 times. So there was just a ton of Dredge for some reason. I don't know if that's like something new to Magic Online and all of a sudden like people are dropping the graveyard hate so Dredge is good again, or if I got the short end of the straw in playing against Dredge 3 times in 8 matches. But we'll find out. And we're waiting. So I guess while we're waiting, I have a Direfleet Daredevil article pretty much done that I forgot that I was in the middle of writing, and so I ignored it for a few days. So that should be coming out in the next couple of days. Still haven't heard back from the guy who's making me my Twitch emote. I'll probably give him another week here before I just pass on the task to someone else. You know, some of you have put money towards this stream, and I don't want you to be emoteless for much longer. Otherwise, it's been kind of an uneventful week for D&T as far as lists go. There was a really small 1K that had like 34 people or something like that that produced a few D&T deck lists. And there was sort of a weird blue D&T deck list that that got pushed out that looked ambitious, is the way that I tend to put those things. Trying to jam True Name Nemesis into the D&T mana base doesn't particularly work well when like True Name is a card you really want to curve out with. Like there's a big difference between like a True Name Nemesis in a Stoneblade deck where you can go like Cantrip or Swords into Stoneforge, into True Name Equip somewhat consistently. With D&T, that sort of thing just isn't going to happen. Okay, this is louder than it needs to be by a lot. I want to see if I have any data on my opponent here. MTG Capri. Huh. Well, chat. My opponent entered into the league, or entered into the match, and then, like, auto-conceded to me. Oh, he was 0-4 and wanted to give the win? Okay, well, like, I do appreciate that. I know I've played against this player before. Grixis Delver. This looks like a great hand against Grixis Delver. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I want to record that match for my record keeping. Because no matter what the outcome, I record all of my matches, but that's kind of a weird one because I didn't actually play, but it still counts towards, like, my records for, like, whether or not I 5-0'd and stuff, so I need to record something. So excuse me for one moment while I mess with my chat here. Or not my chat, my spreadsheet. Ooh, double Delver. I'm going to be under a decent amount of duress here. I'm going to go ahead and opt to just play on curve here and try to disrupt my opponent's mana as much as possible with, like, Thalia into Wingmare, into, like, Flicker Wisp and Wasteland you while also playing Mom, potentially. Okay, well, this is bad. This is bad on a large number of levels. He used to play Miracles before the top band. Maybe that's where I recognize the name from. So if these Delvers flip anytime soon, I'm probably just real dead. Let the record show. Like, I can maybe race this true name and, like, trade for some Delvers, but things are not looking good. OP is less than polite. Yeah, my opponent's opener is pretty sweet against my deck. Like, they haven't played anything that's taxed by Thalia yet, although I assume, like, the weird way they're tapping their mana right now is indicative of that very fact. But, like, the Ponder is going to set it up so these Delvers flip, and I'm going to take 3 this turn, going to 17, and then potentially 9 in the turns that follow. I can use the combination of Wingmare and Flicker Wisp to trade for both Delvers. But then, like, how am I clocking my opponent and beating the true name? Okay, Stoneforge Mystic is a way to beat that. I think I want... If I get the Batterskull, Mom plus Batterskull beats the true name easily. if I get the Jitte, then that's 4 life gain a turn that Mom can push through, but this is... So I guess I can't actually cast the Jitte unless my opponent trades a Wingmare or I draw another land. But my opponent has not cast a removal spell yet this game, so it's somewhat likely that they actually have one. I don't want to just try to straight race the true name with Sword of Fire and Ice, I don't think. Since I have double Moms, like, the protection there isn't super relevant. I want one of my 2 life gain equipments, and the question is, do they have a removal spell in their hand? If the answer is no, then I definitely want to get Batterskull. But I think I'm going to get Jitte and kind of play it safe here. Note that since I traded my Wingmare, they do have the possibility of going land second spell, but I do think it was important to go ahead and trade the Wingmare there. If I don't, then I am at 8, and I am dead to 3 true name strikes. Let's see if we get Stifle. And the opponent just scoops it up there, because I have, like, Jitte for 4 life gain a turn and this Mom to protect. That might be an early concession on their part. But if their hand is just dead, like if their hand is just bad at this point, which it probably is since they had so little manipulation, it's not an unreasonable concession. It is an early one. Alright, so MZ Frosty, game 1 win with the equipment. Actually, let's actually win with Jitte and Mom versus True Name. Yeah, my opponent had a very ideal start against D&T, and it just kind of fell apart for them. Which happens sometimes. You know, my opponent had no manipulation in the early game, so sort of not overly surprising. What I've been doing for this matchup recently is getting rid of Revoker, Recruiter, and then bringing in P and K. And I've been pretty happy with that. Oh wait, no, I'm still 1 off here since I added that other Wingmare. That's right. Since I added the other Wingmare, I've been going down to bringing in 1 Rest in Peace in this matchup. Which I'm not entirely sure is right, because Rest in Peace is a very powerful card, but it's not always great in this matchup. And sometimes they just have, like, the Delver True Name draws, where the Rest in Peace isn't particularly good. I definitely want to have 1 in my deck, and 2's not unreasonable, but, like, I'm really well geared to just beat out Delver decks. This is a really mediocre hand. It doesn't have any removal spells. It has some mana disruption, but I might just die keeping this hand. With, like, with a relevant card on the top of my deck, this hand is fine, but this is a little loose. If my opponent doesn't lead on Deathrite and I get to Wasteland them, then, like, this is a solid to good hand. Ugh. I'm not happy with this. Oh, Starstreak, thank you very much. Thank you for your second month of supporting me here. I'm going to go ahead and keep this one, rationalizing that the top, like, my next 2 draws are going to make this into a decent hand. And, Starstreak, I actually remembered to set up a resubscription message so that something actually triggered when you did that. I'm gonna wasteland my opponent in their upkeep, I think. This smells kind of like a stifle. Actually, I don't really care about this land that much. Like, they're just gonna Young Pyromancer. Like, Young Pyromancer is the worst that can happen this turn. Maybe I'm not even supposed to do that. Need to keep up being your longest subscriber. Alright. You know, if my opponent has a Stifle, I would like to get it out of their hand since I have this Stoneforge and this Flicker Wisp and this as well. Yeah, Basic Plains, I agree. This is a really weird opening hand. It has the potential to be fine. It's so in between on so many fronts, but like drawing a Swords or a Thalia or like any number of other cards turns it into a good hand. Like, looking at that right there, like with a path for this Delver, if my opponent whiffs on something this turn and I get to start like porting or stoneforging, this is probably fine. Kick his ass, Phil. I mean, that is the plan, yes. I'm gonna go ahead and play Thalia before Stoneforge Mystic. I really want to play the Stoneforge Mystic around a Daze, if possible. And, like, I don't think my opponent is going to have Daze right now, like, based on their play pattern, but you never know for sure. And I'd also like to limit this Young Pyromancer's ability to just go absolutely ham on me. Alright, there's a true name. I don't have P and K in my deck, so I don't need double red. So I think I'm actually going to expose this plateau to the wasteland and try to get my opponent to waste me. And now this gets to resolve. And we're going to go ahead and get Sword of Fire and Ice. That'll let us get through the true name as well as any tokens that my opponent produces. Still very fearful of something like a Cabal Therapy. Like a Cabal Therapy to take this sword, flashback Cabal Therapy to get the Flicker Wisp, would be very devastating. So now, oop, never mind. So my opponent is probably incentivized to wasteland this plateau. Unless they draw, like, land or Cabal Therapy and already have the other, in which case they Cabal Therapy me. But, yeah. I don't think they have Cabal Therapy in hand, because they just would have, like, absolutely just slammed that card. And Jitte is a pretty respectable draw there. I kind of... Sorry, let me mute that. Sorry. Good friends want to support me no matter what. One of my friends is watching me, saying, I don't really know what's going on, but, good on you, I'm happy for you. So that makes me smile. Alright, so since I have this 4th land to go ahead and deploy my equipment next turn, unless my opponent wastelands me, I kind of want to just, like, Flicker Wisp my Stoneforge, get the Batter Skull, and then just produce another body here. And I think I'm just going to hold all my guys back on D. Phil's friend. Phil started a cult. Praise be. It's a great cult. So we've now taxed my opponent's mana. We are threatening 3 different pieces of equipment. Feeling pretty good about my my position. Hi, where do I sign up for the cult? And do you have Kool-Aid? Because I'm happy to drink it without knowing what's in it. Actually, on this stream tonight, we have ramune. It's a Japanese carbonated beverage. This one's melon flavored. It's pretty delicious. And as far as what's in it, it's a marble. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a marble in this drink that keeps it fizzy while you're drinking it. I quite like the term Japanated beverage. Can I get the trademark on that? I feel like it still works. Yeah, I actually made a side trip after work to go to, like, the local Oriental market to get a bunch of, like, fun snacks. I got a bunch of, like, the gummy candies that I can't actually read the wrappers on, and, like, some Hello Panda stuff and things of that nature. Does the marble constantly leak CO2 into the liquid? No, so, like, the liquid itself is what's carbonated, and, like, as you're drinking it, the marble just kind of, like, slides back and forth across it while you're drinking it. It's neat. Why not play Wasteland, pass, and then put an equipment into play? Like, that's a fine line. But I feel pretty good about my position, so I think playing the Flicker Wisp there lets me present a decent amount of pressure in the air. Oh, that just worked. That's nice. Can my opponent have anything that just kills this at 2 mana? I don't think so. Can I confirm that chocolate koalas are infinitely better than chocolate pandas? Actually, I'm allergic to chocolate, so cannot confirm. Alright, yeah. So, to play around the removal spell, I intentionally did not equip the Thalia, in case anyone was wondering about that. Alright. Opponent has the removal spell for the Thalia. And now I have to figure out what I want to play around. I can just get frisky with Stoneforge right now, or I can go ahead and, like, play Batterskull. Like, Stoneforge in Batterskull, equip Batterskull with Sword of Fire and Ice, and then it's out of range about, like, just about anything that they could possibly do. And I kind of like just creating the, like, super monster here. Because I don't know what that loses to. The only thing that would lose to is something like a lightning bolt from me directly, I think. I guess I can lose to, like, potentially an Abrade. Okay, push for the token would be rough. If I equip the Stoneforge, swing in, I kill Young Pyro, but then there's like 6 on the board. Or I can like cast Jitte and like remove a Pyro and gain 2 life. I like creating the monster. You should have played that port, not this plateau. Let the record show. No one gets upsetty? We don't want anyone getting upsetty, especially not me. Alright. Ancient Grudge is kind of rough. Alright, so we're going to die to that line. So is there anything that we could have done better that would have, like, beaten the Ancient Grudge? So, like, I'm just going to make my blocks while I'm thinking here. So let's say I do Jitte and swing. So I just, like, cast Jitte, equip Jitte, swing in. I kill Young Pyromancer. They have 3 tokens in play, plus True Name that get through. So that's 6 damage, and like, the issue there is, like, the Ancient Grudge is still going to beat me. Because, like, I take 6, I'm forced to gain 2, I'm at 2 life, and then I double down on the Stoneforge on that next turn, and so I swing in, and then my Jitte just gets Ancient Grudged there. So I don't actually think we would have beaten the Ancient Grudge. So I think that's, like, the line we took puts us in the best position to win versus the board. And if we're not going to beat an Ancient Grudge or a Braid, then that's fine. Might need to think about that spot a little bit more later. That was interesting. Game 2 lost to True Name and Ancient Grudge. We're on the draw for that, and we lost. We're on the play for Game 3. This hand is amazing. Assuming this Ether Vial gets to resolve, we're going to be doing some gross things a few turns down the line. It's a little awkward if this Vial doesn't resolve. But I like my chances of it resolving on the play on my opponent's mull to 6. What if instead of put in Sword of Fire and Ice and Equip, you just drop Batterskull that turn? And do what with the rest of my mana? Just had Port up. So, like, if I'm worried about a 2-mana removal spell, then, like, the Port doesn't do a ton there, right? A Braid's an instant, isn't it? So, like, the porting doesn't necessarily do a lot. I think I'd rather, like, get that Batterskull Germ out of the range of, like, say, a Dismember or something like that. Yeah, a Braid's an instant. Opponent did not shuffle with the Ponder, for anyone in the chat wondering. Oh, that turn I also had Thalia in play. No, they bolted the Thalia. Because, like, my board was just Stoneforge on the turn where that we're, like, talking about my decision. Ooh. Ancient Grudge, a Vial. If I actually had, like, a Thalia or something there, they really should have done that in response, but whatever. Alright. Alright. Opponent needs to show us a lightning bolt. I know they have a Diabolic Edict in hand that they can't cast, an Ancient Grudge in their graveyard they can't flash back. So if my opponent doesn't, like, bolt the Magus this turn, I probably get to just run away with this game. They have it. I'll explain that in a second. But I want to just see if it happens the way that I'm scripting it. Yeah, it does. Alright, so I got the Batterskull to incentivize my opponent to do this so that they would tap out. Once they tap out, I tap this, and I put in the Magus. And I'll sacrifice my Stoneforge, and now they need a second mountain. Or not a second mountain. They have plenty of those. They need a second lightning bolt in order to get this Magus off the table. And we're just going to do this just so that we can get the Liliana off the table on my turn. It plussing is a little bit of a liability. And my opponent just scoops it up because Magus of the Moon is an amazing card. So some people board Magus of the Moon out against Grixis Delver. I talked with Mark Koenig a little bit, and that's a strategy that he does. But like I love it for just like the free wins like that you get. And like yes, they have outs to it. Yes, they can like upbraid it or lightning bolt it. But I am very much a believer. So in case you haven't noticed it already, I have some reddish-orange text at the top of the screen there. In one of the panels below my stream, I have a link to a straw poll where you can vote for the deck list that I'm going to play in my bonus stream, and I'm going to go ahead and do the bonus stream on Thursday. So I'll check in at the end of the stream and see what you all want to see me play. After that first round, we've gotten paired super quickly tonight. Alright, playing against Doodoo Man, a 9-4-5. I would like to play first. Don't have data on my opponent. This hand is medium. I am going to keep it because it has Aether Vial, and Aether Vial is the best card in the deck. But this hand might not be good. I'm going to go ahead and fetch a basic on turn 1 here. I just want to have access to my white no matter what. Opponent was F6'd, so probably not a Force of Will deck. Dude, man, 9, 4, 5. We're on the play, and it's a little too difficult to tell what my opponent is playing as of right now. But no matter what they're playing, I'm wastelanding them, and we're going to try to keep them from casting spells. It appears to be half of the decks in the format, with Underground Sea, Polluted Delta, and Ponder, and now Scalding Tarn as well, and all of those cards are just, like, super, super popular. It appears my opponent is playing a fair deck, though, because now they're probably going to, like, bolt this Mother of Runes, and then I'm going to wasteland them again. Really hoping it's a Delver deck on a rough start. Fatal Push, sure. Oh, that's great. Like, it could be Pile, it could be Delver. Like, we still can't tell for sure. So not all of the Pile decks run basics. There are some deck lists that are greedier than others with Pile. So, like, Pile is not guaranteed to have basics. So, I think it is most likely... really hope my opponent's on Delver. Alright, so this probably indicates that my opponent is indeed on check pile, a four-color control deck. That's great. So the good news is that if my opponent just, like, plays something to try to gum up the road, that's not happening. The bad news is I'm not really presenting enough pressure to do anything of substance here. Flicker Wisp is pretty insane there. I'm thinking about whether I want to, like, blink one of my opponent's lands or just hold up this Flicker Wisp, and I think the answer is hold up the Flicker Wisp. It is very, very, very close, though. I think I want to give my opponent priority. Yep. And I know I can just, like, bounce this with Caracas to save it, but I want to present the most pressure that I can possibly present, and that is 5 damage on my opponent's next turn. And this still holds up the Caracas when it comes back into play. Lightning Bolt the Flicker Wisp, sure, that's fine. So I don't think my opponent's line is bad there. Like, they have so many resources that they need to get this Thalia out of play. I waited for my Thalia to come back so that my opponent can't force, and I am fine with giving my opponent the life here. This game is not ending as quickly as I want it to. This game is going to go on for a few turns. And another Flicker Wisp is a super disgusting